to take the city cruise.
That's the ticket center. But
If you have the city pass, it's included.
yeah, we can go now. Yes. Let's go. 太好了，趁boarding.
Juice? This is juice.
Okay, we're getting this one.
How much?
$5. Side, everything he's talking about. So the right-hand side is the way to go. And if you have room at your table and you see people walking around looking a little bit lost, that is distinctly different than open bar. I just feel compelled to clarify that. It's New Year's Eve after all. And last, of course, this is a narrated tour conversation. That's fine. I just ask that you be mindful of the people around you. There are people, believe it or not, who hang on my every word. They're not in my house, of course. That's unfortunate, but there you go. But I do narrate. I do take a little bit of a break from the incredibly handsome guy with the microphone. I'm going to be your narrator, the voice you're stuck with well into next year, because it can take 3 or 4 days at least to get my voice out of your head. It's just how it works. And one person pretending to be enthusiastic for personal safety. It's pretty obvious when I make stuff up, I hope. If you're not sure, just double check. We need fact checkers on this boat. Land there is around the city of Boston. This will be the most extraordinary thing you learn on this tour, without question. Boston was founded back in 1630. It came to naming things. Just think default to the obvious. So for example, over here on the right, on the other side of our other harbor cruise boat, we have what's called Long Wharf. Just gonna let that sit for a second. Catching up with me now, our Canadians got it? Yeah, we good? No, and it's clearly not that long anymore, and you wonder, well, what's that about? And I'll say, well, India Wharf, Rose Wharf, Griffin's Wharf, here a wharf, there a wharf, everywhere a wharf. They built these wharves out side by side, out into the harbor, side by side, out into the deep water, and then they began building walls in between the wharves, connecting them. And then they simply pushed dirt into that space, displacing the water, creating land. They'd build another wall further down, they'd push in more dirt, creating more land, and this became known as the wharfing out of Boston, to the point now where 75% of Boston is built on man-made land here in Boston. But I just wanted to welcome you back to Boston, remind you to remain on your best behavior. We have had to kick a few people out of town again, send them back to England. But we're going to talk about a little piece of a history that directly affects our relationship with England. It'll be very familiar to most of you. It is the Boston Tea Party. The Boston Tea Party took place over here on the right. If you look through the mast of the little sailboats, now that we're turned around, you'll see a rusty iron bridge. It's stuck in the open and broken position. It's right next to the that big white harbor cruise boat. That's our dinner cruise boat. They're actually doing a cruise tonight with for the fireworks out here on the harbor. But there it is, right through the opening of that bridge. In fact, right into the blinding sun, just if you're not sure where that is. But that's where the Boston Tea Party took place on the night of December 16th, 1773. We see ourselves go by.
Oh wow.
I like to see myself reflected in my work. I say that's a nice reflection on you. And that building 10 years ago That was the tallest building in this entire area. In Boston, a free lunch, proving there is such a thing as a free lunch, but more importantly, really good marketing skills. Thankfully, that is the extent of my horrific Boston accent. I'm originally from Connecticut.
一个小船孤零零在海上，还有海鸥在那儿飞的，真好看。 So
because there used to be a castle out here, and this was once an island off the coast of Boston. So from this fort all the way back to the tall buildings downtown, man-made land. South Boston was built all the way out and connected to Castle Island. It's not an island anymore, but as I said, we're very stubborn. We will forever call it Castle Island, even though you could drive a truck to it. It's a very unusual island.
Oh.
And you're going to see a number of islands off in the distance. There are 34 islands in Boston Harbor. They make up the Boston Harbor Islands National Park. I'm only going to talk about 2 of them. You're welcome. Some more islands way out in the distance. You'll see that one lighthouse out there in between 2 islands, flashes every 10 seconds. That's the oldest lighthouse of the country, built in 1716, right here in Boston. So, of course, it's called Boston Light. Well, because those tanks and the island with the 2 hills are the reason we get to be out here on the harbor to begin with. It was 2 round circles of land, a little sandbar in the middle. It actually looked like a pair of eyeglasses. Would anyone like to speculate what we call that island today?
那边有飞机降落了，刚才啊。
Tactical Island, nicely done. So, right up through the 1980s, Boston and just go out with the tide, which it did. And twice a day, what does the tide do? Turns around and brings it all back. That's the other reason the harbor is so clean. You can eat the fish, the lobsters. You can swim in these waters, and I do all 3 all summer long. And as a result of filling up the salt. We'll pick up the narration again. Over to the right, this is all East Boston. East Boston, or Eastie. Those shipping lanes, very treacherous sailing grounds. So if you're sailing internationally into New York, we're east of Boston, so that's easy. And that big red roof building over there, at least 3 people have asked me, what's that big red roof building over there? I'm not going to lie to you, it is not. Remember that everything in front of it and everything to the sides of that building, man-made land. That's how long Wharf used to be.
拍什么呢，大家？
Now we're still cruising along East Boston here. Up on the hill, you see those, the land of golden opportunity for all the Irish people coming to Boston during the potato famine back in the 1840s. Boston was the place to be. War of 1812, when she noticing rhymes with the word derriere, which in fact was the last part of the ship we saw as we sank beneath the waves. Cannonballs bouncing harmlessly off the sides of the ship. Some excitable seaman was heard to stick Georgia live oak, but strong enough wood to repel or stick only undefeated team. New York can't say that. That movie was all about. Great movie. The red trim buildings. This is little real estate. You see these 3-story brick condos over here. The white boatfront windows. This is Union Wharf. These condos, very nice. They're 3 stories, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, $4 million. Bye-bye now. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
You're very welcome. Bye-bye now.
Yay.